Welcome to KP Law News. Got a story out of Jacksonville, Florida here about a towing company owner getting arrested and charged with 2 felonies. I got 2 news stories from News Jax 4 here in Jacksonville. I'll put the link to their YouTube channel here in the down in the description. But we're going to run one story, and they mentioned something in the first story that they don't mention in the second story. So let's start the story, and we'll go over it and see what's going on over here. Yeah.
Serrano, president and CEO of ASAP Towing and Storage, is facing 2 felony charges: grand theft of more than $100,000 and organized fraud.
The News for Jax I-Team has covered controversy surrounding ASAP for years, from allegations of predatory towing to raids on its offices over the summer.
I-Team investigator Ann Maxwell's here in studio with new insight tonight about this arrest for us.
Turn that down a little bit.
Kent, Serrano turned himself in at the Duval County Jail this morning. All of this is related to the sales of towed cars whose owners couldn't be found. Serrano previously told me he did nothing wrong, but JSO says he defrauded Floridians of nearly $200,000.
$200,000.
In July, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office served warrants on all 4 locations of ASAP Towing and Storage, seeking evidence of theft and fraud. And now JSO says they have evidence, obtaining an arrest warrant for Vince Serrano on Friday. According to this incident report, Serrano defrauded the state of Florida of about $194,000. JSO says he was illegally pocketing proceeds from the sales of towed cars whose owners couldn't be located. As Donald Marshall Atkinson, who is the past president of the Jacksonville Wrecker Association, explains, tow companies are only allowed to pocket sales proceeds for certain services they provided.
We can only charge what's in the city ordinance: hookup, winch time, or extra labor.
Any other monies received from a sale are called overages, and they're supposed to be paid to the clerk of court within a certain time frame.
It's not our money. It belongs to the owner of that vehicle.
Records obtained by the I-Team show while ASAP did pay about...
I wonder how much the clerk of court gets out of that. That's a question that I don't think will get answered here today.
$340,000 in overages over the past 2 years or so. At least $181,000 of that was paid late after a JSO audit discovered ASAP Towing owed money. JSO says another company paid overages late too. But Atkinson says the incident report suggests ASAP was improperly pocketing fees, and this would harm consumers.
Let's take the worst case scenario first: is someone dies, they don't have much money, the family doesn't have much money, and you sell a vehicle for $4,000 or $5,000, and the tow bill was only $1,000. That's $3,000 that should go to the family.
Serrano previously told the I-Team he thought JSO was investigating him in retaliation for a lawsuit he'd filed against the Sheriff's Office for removing ASAP from their towing operators list.
There we have it. What do you think? He's suing JSO for them removing him off the list. So is this retaliation? I don't know. Not much is mentioned more about this in this story or the next.
He said he hadn't done anything wrong. You live in a $3 million house, and you think JSO doesn't think you deserve that, and that's why they're investigating you?
You know, a lot of people don't want to see people do well.
Questions. A question arises. Is it retaliation against him suing them for taking them off the list? I don't know. That's a good question. But this next story, we're going to cover it. This is like an update to this story. I think this is like a day later they reported this. So let's do this one.
Theft and fraud, landing the owner of ASAP Towing and Storage behind bars. Vince Serrano is facing 2 felony counts. That includes grand theft of more than $100,000 and organized fraud of more than $50,000.
Yeah, I-Team investigator Ann Maxwell has been following this story for months, and she joins us in the studio. And this alleged scheme centers around cars that ASAP or ASAP Towing towed and then sold without the owner's permission.
That's right. They sell cars when they can't track down the owner. So this is really all about the money from those sales. When a towing company sells an unclaimed car, they're only allowed to keep what it costs them to tow, store, and sell the vehicle. Any additional proceeds must be posted to the clerk of court so the owner can recoup those funds. But investigators claim Serrano was underreporting sale amounts and keeping the difference, as well as double dipping on fees, creating a windfall, they say. Soon after the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office raided the 4 locations of ASAP Towing and Storage in July, the company's owner, Vince Serrano, told me when it comes to revenue, it's a $10 million business.
Wow.
Now, investigators say he's been cooking the books in a fraud scheme that goes back years. The I-team obtained this warrant issued Friday for Serrano's arrest. It shows investigators reviewed ASAP's sales documents filed from 2020 to 2024. According to the warrant, JSO compared files showing discrepancies between the sales prices ASAP reported and the bills of sale, with ASAP underreporting what buyers actually paid. The warrant also says the company fraudulently inflated their costs with phony deductions, all so they could make more money. For example, take a look at these numbers from 2022. It shows ASAP reported one vehicle is selling for $7,700 when it actually sold for $8,855. That's $1,155 more. And then they listed a deduction for $1,155 and listed another deduction for buyers and key fees for the same amount. Investigators say the deductions are inflated. In all, ASAP pocketed $2,310 from that sale, more than they should have. The warrant says investigators reviewed report of sales documents for 255 transactions from 2020 to 2024. And for 252 of those, the bills of sale supported fraud. Investigators determined that Serrano fraudulently signed and filed 216 of these report of sales documents with the clerk of court, the warrant says. Additionally, investigators say they interviewed 5 current ASAP employees and 1 former employee, with the former employee reporting Serrano ordered her to underreport the sale amount and to deduct another buyer's fee and key fee under the other section of the report of sale document, and told her to make an example form for all offices to follow. JSO says they uncovered the scheme revealed Serrano defrauded the state of Florida of nearly $194,000.
Yeah.
I reached
You
out to
brought up
Serrano's
the
attorney. He
states,
said
they're not
he
getting
did
their
comment
cut.
on pending litigation.
So, and how did investigators really start looking into this? What was the tip?
Yeah, this has been a long-running investigation. According to the warrant, it began with an audit in October of last year JSO was doing on all of the tow companies it used. It was during that, the warrant says, they discovered ASAP had underreported the actual sale price of one vehicle, and then they dug deeper and reportedly found that was just the tip of the iceberg.
What about the lawsuit? They didn't mention that in this news story. Nothing was mentioned about the lawsuit he has against JSO for removing him off the list. They didn't say why he was removed off the list. I guess that happened before this audit or whatever. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of towing companies, especially predatory towing companies. I was in the trucking industry, so ran across that quite a bit. They put a lot of regulations on the big truck towing companies because a lot of them are overcharging by a whole lot. So still not a fan. Who's $1,000 to a car? That seems a bit extreme, but I don't know. I think they said also he was towing cars out of people's driveways for no reason. And so that's not good at all. But still, is it retaliation for the lawsuit? I don't know. I think there's a lot of unanswered questions on this story. So I'm going to keep an eye on this thing and see what happens. And if any new news updates or any updates on this, I'll try to bring them right here to the KP Law News channel. So let me know down in the comment section what y'all think about this situation. And so I appreciate everybody watching. Everybody have a good day. KP Law News out.